It's time now for a look at the main stories in the world's papers. I'm joined here in the studio by Dipti Laurent. Hello to you, Dipti.
Hi.
Now, you're starting with the mass exodus of starving Venezuelans.
That's right. Listen to this, Rochelle. Paying a taxi driver with a bag of flour. Stories of babies dying of malnutrition. A currency that's not even worth the paper it's printed on. Salaries that no longer cover people's simple bus fare to get to work. This is the reality facing millions of Venezuelans today, according to the Telegraph's correspondents in an article that's well worth a read. It is an unarguable disaster. That's what the Venezuelan daily paper El Nacional says in its latest editorial. There's no longer even a small flick of decency, the editors say. The institutions have been tainted by the government that's hell-bent on pursuing a, quote, scorched earth policy.
Now, that catastrophe, Dipti, has sparked something of a wider migrant crisis in Latin America.
Well, millions of desperate Venezuelans are fleeing the country for food, for work as well. And in particular, they're heading to neighboring Brazil and also Peru. But that's also causing a lot of strain on those countries in the region. It's sparking a lot of border violence. Venezuelan migrants, according to one Brazilian paper, Folha de Sao Paulo, are being attacked in border states. And in fact, they report that desperate Venezuelans are now accepting jobs in rural parts of Brazil and being exploited in the process. They're getting low wages for hard labor, living in very poor conditions. As one Venezuelan interviewed by the paper says, we know we're being exploited, but what am I going to do? I'm not going to head back to the streets, so I have no choice, basically.
All right, well, in other news, the German city of Chemnitz has been the scene of violence this week, of course, between far-right protesters and police, and that continues to dominate the headlines. That's
right. Headlines in Germany, in particular, far-right protesters have been clashing this week with police and counter-protesters after the arrest of two foreign nationals for the murder of a German man. Der Tagesspiegel, that's a Berlin daily, they evoke what they call the united front of the far-right, saying that adding to tensions now are allegations that the police had leaked the arrest warrants of those two suspects with their personal details online, leading to far-right parties to post this on social media, essentially prompting this surge of violence.
Right, well, the papers are also focusing on the rise of the far-right party Alternative for Germany. That is, of course, fueling some tension.
Well, that's what The Guardian says in its editorial today. The British paper says Angela Merkel's CDU party seems paralysed by the rise of the far-right AfD, or Alternative for Germany party. In fact, after last year's elections, the far-right party became the main opposition party in the country for the first time in several decades. And for The Guardian, that is a, quote, flowering of something dangerous, all the more so because they're, at least for The Guardian, they're stoking tensions in Chemnitz. One of the MPs had hailed online the protest against what he called, quote, criminal Muslim migrants. This writer from Frankfurter Allgemeine, German paper, accuses the far right of being opportunistic, of using this violence to advance its own political agenda.
OK, changing topics. Lewis Pugh, I think that's how you pronounce it, has become the first person to completely cross the English Channel lengthways.
That's right. The Dover to Calais crossing is about 50 kilometres, and it's been done by people in the past. Now, 48-year-old Lewis Pugh set himself a greater challenge, crossing the channel sideways. That's about 530 kilometres. It took him 49 days, and he's now successfully completed the feat. But he says with his success came a worrying sight along his journey. He observed what he said was very little marine life in the oceans, a result of overfishing and a lot of plastic pollution. He's now sounding the alarm, urging the government to do something immediately to protect its coastlines.
All right, and finally from you, Dipti, plane travel doesn't have the allure it had in the early days of aviation. It's still fertile ground, though, for romance, and that's according to one study.
That's right. I'm not, our reality today, cramped seats, below par food, strict security conditions, they don't seem like the best conditions to find romance in the air. And yet, according to a study by HSBC, 1 in 50 people have met their life partners, or say they've met their life partners while flying. It turns out, though, that the chances of making a friend or a business connection are much higher, 1 in 7 and 1 in 6, respectively. The study does have some recommendations to help you find your life partner. These recommendations include: don't snore, don't fall asleep on your neighbor's shoulder, don't hug the armrest, and please don't take off your shoes. Behavior that most passengers find abhorrent.
And don't sit next to screaming children either. You won't be able to hear each other. Dipti, thank you very much for the roundup there for us. Of course, to our viewers, if you do want to see more, you can log on to our website at france24.com.